starting.
Is it working?
Yes,
Yay!
it's working. Nelly, welcome.
Yes, thank you.
What's happening? Why are we wearing these flags and these colors? What's up?
Well, I don't know. I just feel like this is the color of the day for me. And somehow you came with them. Like you saw me, you just grabbed them. So it's like, I'm going to grab mine too. The reason
First,
why I was,
yeah, go ahead.
the reason why I'm wearing green is because it's the heart chakra color. So that's pretty much where I'm connected with right now. But I really love sunflower. So it's pretty much Brazil.
Yeah, so fun fact about Nelly, Nelly's favorite emoji is sunflower.
Yeah, it's the symbol of my life.
And you, Nelly, when I met you about what, 2 months ago,
Yes.
you were the sunflower of our group. You
Hmm.
you were, and you became a leader. And what were you doing? You were getting people throughout the during the breaks
Yes,
to do
dance
what?
and
Please tell us.
move. Yeah. So we met during the NLP Master Prac, right? During our certification, our studies. And I always loved to move. Like as a dance instructor, I always loved to move. But for some reason, when people got to know that I was doing this, that was so interesting. I was actually not into the move. I'm like, I'm here to focus. I'm just gonna study. But it's impressive how our purpose call us. So we just start moving and people start saying, Nelly, you gotta teach us. And the interesting thing is that people played songs during the master prac. And then some more people start coming and showing up, like, where's the song? What kind of song is that? What are you guys doing? And then my friend said, yeah, Nelly can just do a little dance warm up. That's how it all started.
Yes, yes, and it wasn't just any type of dance. What type of
Yeah.
dance was it?
Well, Brazilian Zouk. Here we are. So, yeah. So I teach Brazilian Zouk. I'm a Brazilian Zouk dance instructor, and it's the type of dance that I'm in love with. Have you ever heard about Brazilian Zouk before, Fernando?
I have, yes, I have.
Yes. So it's interesting because in Brazil there are a huge amount of people that actually don't know. So it's a new age. Let's say it's a 20 year plus dance. So it's
Yeah.
not so common like forró or samba that everyone knows, or lambada that everyone knows for ages. But yeah, Brazilian Zouk comes from lambada. That's Brazilian Zouk root. It's a partner dance, and it's a type of dance that its main purpose is connection, and it's to develop high levels of connection physically, in your level of body awareness while dancing with someone, high levels of connection with music, how you play with musicality. Yeah, it's just incredible.
And looking at it, it looks pretty sensual.
It is pretty sensual. And Fernando, for me, my self-development process for me to get here today, initially for me it was philosophy, like getting into philosophy, being a philosophy teacher. But for me, consciously was when I got into dance, because when you start connecting with art, so many things come up to you. And Zouk, Brazilian Zouk is a social dance, is a partner dance. So I don't dance by myself. So I'm putting in a place that I actually need to learn how to interact, deal with people. My demons come up. Am I good enough to dance this? I don't even know how to do this step. People are looking at me. So whoever you are, like it doesn't matter who you are, literally the baggage, the shit is gonna come up because you're learning something new, so you cannot run away from that. So it's a dance that it's naturally considered sensual. And it takes time for people to understand what sensuality is in that type of dance, because we misinterpret, we don't understand what that means. So sometimes there's a sensuality that I see in my classes that comes without meaning. It's when you're trying to express something and it's empty of intention or purpose. You just try to look a certain way. So you might dance well and you might be cool, but you have to be feeling something from inside out. And that's interesting because even if it looks awkward in the outside world, it feels sensual inside, from inside out. So people start looking at you and saying, that person looks kind of crazy, right? In a judgmental space, but they look so fulfilled. They look
Mm.
so themselves, and these become sexy. How can someone love themselves and their body so much to just be who they are? It's such an interesting place.
Hmm. This reminds me of many things. Okay, I remember when I was the only person in salsa class learning how to dance that had a notebook. I was the only one
Mm.
that actually was taking notes because it was so I had a block, to
Oh,
learn. Yeah, you too. Okay.
this is so interesting. And what I've learned is we learn differently, right? NLP now we know even better than anything that we learn differently. And what is interesting about dance and this type of dance is that the way you learn can be positive, or you it can just take over the space that it could be really be in when it comes to surrendering to learning something new. So when we're very mental, like auditory digital, I talk a lot to myself. I might lose aspects of the dance that requires presence. So I think it's because of these things, these subtle levels of presence, attention, connection that I have to put myself into. It's almost impossible for me not to step into vulnerability. There's no way I cannot escape from this. And my body language, imagine someone that has never danced anything. There's no dance body language. There's no comfort in that body, but there is an intention to grab something. And they normally come from a place of, oh, I learned by writing it down. Some people are very, very analytical. Me too. Like I get very analytical in my dance. And this is what my dance journey brought to me. How can I step into other modalities of learning? Because
Mm,
not every dance instructor, for example, is going to teach me the way that I want to learn.
mm,
So it challenged me to grow outside of myself, you know.
mm, indeed. And you said something about at the beginning when we're talking about the dance being sensual. Something that I got present to is as someone who I guess is very like one of my love languages, say physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
sometimes I label dance with like an act of love. So if I'm gonna dance with just anybody, it's like I don't want to dance with just anybody because that it's for
Yeah.
the one or for my
Yeah.
partner at the time or for
Yeah.
my life partner.
Mm-hmm.
How like what do you tell people like myself that you know
Mm-hmm.
to this day, even though I practiced for a year, sometimes I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to dance with just anyone. I want to dance with
Yes.
people that I. So
Yeah.
what do you have to
Wow.
say for that?
I love this question. I'm gonna tell you something. We are exactly in the place where I got to, not with the question, but with the intention. How I got into self development through dance. Like how dance, because there's no way that you go to a social dance and you don't have these ideas coming to you. Do I really want to dance with anyone? So you're challenged to understand your boundaries. You're challenged to understand where you stand for when it comes to your preferences. You're challenged to understand if those preferences hold, if they hold judgment, if they hold resistance. Am I just trying not to dance with other people? Why do I like there's so many whys and whats and how that comes to you. So what I'm gonna answer, my answer to you right now is beyond dance. It's beyond dance technique. And I really believe that dance, like most of everything in life, is a way for me to express my being and be in connection with other people. And we just find, in my case, it's Brazilian zouk, but for some people, like you said, it's salsa, or it's, I don't know, any other level of art expression. I mean, for me, that's an opportunity for me to grow. So dance was the place where I connected. So when it comes to this, I feel like there are two things. The first thing, you need to respect the place that you are at. So some people do come to dance and just dance with their own partner. And then there's gonna come a second level. So first, like it's important for you to respect where you are at, because if you want to be in a place that you're not and you force yourself into it, there is a really it's really possible that you burn out. So it's like testing the waters. This is where I am at right now. This is how I'm comfortable, and I'm still testing the waters. So I always think of gate. Even if I've made a decision in my life, okay, I decided that I'm going to salsa or Brazilian zouk, and I'm gonna go with my partner to make my relationship better. This is where I am right now. We're gonna both learn dancing to see if you connect with each other. This is how you go. But when you get there, you are not in your world anymore. That world is bigger than your own decision. So once you get there, that is the decision that you made at your house. This is what we're doing. Once you get in the dance class, you have another world that you're putting yourself into. So I always say, like, if you have a door, just keep this door unlocked. Keep it half open. Because when you get there, questions and needs that you didn't know would come up will start showing up. Because you are one human being. You are different. Whenever you are putting different expressions of life. So as much it's the same. If you change this relationship, there might be a different need on how you're going to learn dance. Because the way you respond to that, it's also related to the space, to the environment. So what I've seen a lot is that respect your decisions, but keep the door open because you can allow yourself to change without the judgment or the resentment that I should be a certain way. So I've seen partners that come together. Once they get there, they decide, okay, it's time to change. And normally there's one of them. There's one person in that couple that is like, oh my gosh, they are so slow. They don't learn. I already know this step. And they're still, and you start feeling like I have an intention. I have a different fast pace in the other person. And you start like, oh, but I promised I wouldn't dance with anyone else. But you didn't know that this person learned this way until both of you were put in that situation. So openness is the secret because you have the right to change whenever time is needed.
And some partners might feel, is it, so you have this gift, or you have this, now it's easy for you to express yourself through body movements as well as spoken, as the spoken word, and
Mm-hmm.
communicating with your
Mm-hmm.
conversation. And some partners are, one might be easy for them, easy for one person to be, to be able to move but not be able to speak so much,
Yeah.
and others to maybe speak but not be comfortable in their bodies.
Yeah.
And as a dance teacher, what have you noticed with your students in your practice, that you can share, that when people start taking dance classes or taking communication courses, like
Mm-hmm.
how things change and how the conversations were affected, and how the physical motion was affected by working on each of these
Yes.
categories.
Wow, I love that. What changes is intentionality. What changes is level of openness. What changes is clarity on what you want and what you don't want. What changes needs, preferences in both worlds in the same way. So the reason why I've been putting self-development, communication, relationship in general, not only men and women or couples or whatever it is, it's because when I see a problem happening in the dance floor with a student and I see something happening at home, they are pretty much based on the same level of fear or disconnection or lack of clarity or where you are. So I'm going to give you an example that's not about couple, but it's something that might answer your question. If it doesn't, then I'll look for a better way. When I got to the US, I started teaching a group of people here. And in one of these classes, there was the lead. He was someone like a bit older, and he was leading someone into something that we call basic lateral step in Brazilian Zouk. He was doing that, and he's like, when you see someone is not satisfied, and I'm like, what is happening? So as a philosophy teacher, I cannot look at someone and just think, oh, it's because the ankle is not stepping at 45 degrees. As much as I know about what's happening in the body, oh, there's no torsion in the rib cage. That's why she's going. I can give the technical explanation for everything in life. But most of the time, actually the question that I have to ask is, why am I doing this? What's going on inside of my body? What am I disconnected from right now that I'm not being able to be present for the gratitude that's to be alive? Like, I'm grateful to just be alive and have an opportunity to be with other humans building myself. But we disconnect very easily from this blessing,
Mm.
and all of us. And this is what happens in both relationships and dance. So in this scenario, there was one point that he was so stressed that he stopped and he had a question. I said, yeah, what is it? And he said, what do you do when you're leading someone that is so heavy that he was so pissed in the class? And everyone, like Fernando, you're Brazilian like me. I was here in this country for 1 month at that point. The ideas of connection and body closeness is different. The idea of the appropriate space is different. Everyone is like super frozen. And I am with all my Brazilian, let's just talk about it. So I was already the weirdo in the space. That's my mentality. And I was looking at them, and everyone wanted a technical response, a dance class response for that. When someone is having that, you feel like you're dragging a rock side to side, like, Jesus, what do we do? Like, the question was so bad. The woman was looking at me with the eyes of desperation. That was my interpretation. And I just couldn't give an answer. So all I did was, all right, you guys, I love this question. This is an amazing question. It's interesting. Let's take a look at this. But before we get to this, how are you guys doing? How has your day been? Like, how has your day been? How do you feel in your body? And he was like, no, I'm just so stressed. Like, he was exploding in the need to just be. I'm so stressed. I had so many meetings in the day. Then I come to class and I cannot even just do a freaking basic step side to side. So actually, that basic step, in a very surface level, is just telling him that he's incompetent. His day is going to keep on going bad. He can barely finish one task. He has so many things to do. There was no presence in what he was doing. So we talked about this, and I was like, what do you want? What do you want from this class? So the conversation was like, what do you want to get from here? How can this class make your day better? And it's like, I just want to chill, I just want to. And then I told him, so what if I tell you that you're actually doing a great job? Yeah, there are a few things that we can fix, but with anything in life, we can get better. And for some reason, I didn't answer the technical dance. People got so crazy with me because they asked, are you coaching us? Are you trying to teach us philosophy? I'm like, no, I'm just actually trying to understand you guys, like get you guys to a more comfortable state. He danced with her again, and she wasn't as heavy. In his perception, he was not carrying a rock. The woman was kind of, I, I don't know if you feel this way. It's very easy for me to get things comfortable. Like I'm very comfortable with human beings because I don't hold judgments about them intentionally. Like I don't have this grudge. I feel like we're all here struggling and fighting and looking for the best way to be ourselves, being each one of us our best model of the world. So at that point, he even forgot that the question was about how to drag and no. After this, I gave them dance explanation. Do you understand when your arm is outside or when you're dancing here, you're using a lot of your biceps. So you have to use your muscle tone to make the motion happen. But when you open up, I gave an anatomy answer. But these dance answer, this technical answer can only land in a body that is open to receive whatever it is. If it is gratitude, if it is presence, if it is dance technique. In relationship, it's the same freaking thing. It's no different. I just feel like most of us allow ourselves to doing dance more than we allow in relationships most of the time.
Mm. Wow.
Mm.
Deep stuff.
Yeah, I go from, that's what people say, Nelly's up in the air, as crazy as she can go down, super deep.
And that's the philosophy teacher. And
Mm.
how did you get to become a philosophy teacher in Brazil?
I wanted to work with marketing. That was my passion. But my mom is a Portuguese teacher, and she also teaches Greek, and she also works with African culture. And I already knew about mythology, all the gods and Zeus and Aphrodites. I don't know the name in English of these Greek gods. So that was already a passion. So my mom was like, why don't you try the exams for both marketing and philosophy? Because it's the side of life that you love. I ended up sticking with philosophy, never went back to marketing. Um, and yeah, it was 5.5, almost 6 years of my life. And it has changed my life completely.
And so from philosophy, we haven't talked about Enneagram yet, and you've mentioned it a few times. And now this
Yes.
is the time I gotta ask you, can you please explain what that is? One of my cousins is all about that, Igor Almeida. also Brazilian, and he taught me a little bit. I forgot most of it. Please, what is Enneagram? How did you get into it, and how we can help people to be a better version of themselves?
Awesome. Oh, I love this question. Fernando, you're so amazing. Seriously, you're so enlightened. I think the first thing that I want to say before I answer this, I don't know, I cannot see people on Facebook or whoever is going to be watching this over a replay. But I was telling Fernando that my passion in life is with communication, relationship, and movement and dance. Brazilian Zouk is a way that I express this, but there could be other ways too. So my intention right now is creating a career where I bring this philosophy teacher as in this dance instructor combined with all the communication tools that I've learned, and I've been not learned, I've been practicing it over time. Like I've been putting myself into it. And one of them is the Enneagram. I don't have the other book right now. I just have this one here. But the Enneagram, in a very basic, oh my gosh, it's going to be so unfair to just say that, but in a very basic way, it would be a personality analysis. So basically saying it's one of the ways to understand how humans behave, how are the passions, what are the motivations, what do we do what we do. So some people think of the Enneagram as a personality test kind of thing. And many people feel very resistant and very like, I don't need one more personality test to tell me who I am. Because we feel like the intention of the personality test is to box or limit you. So there is a level of resistance that I hear, not only with the Enneagram, but with anything, astrology or Myers-Briggs, like some people are very afraid. And it's pretty normal. It's pretty normal because it's the unknown. But if you look at this analysis as a way for you to understand the basic levels of your personality, how you develop yourself as a being that is in connection with the divine, with life, what you're going to do is actually get out of the matrix. So my mentor name is Ben Saltzman. He brings together the Enneagram and relational skills, which is basically, let's just say circling, which is another modality. And the basis of relational skills is to develop more kind, heartfelt ways to communicate, more present ways, just like NVC. This is one of the loves of my life. It's just one. How can you have a more compassionate communication, a communication that comes a lot more from the heart than from your head? So, while the way that I learned Enneagram was not in a way to define someone, it's a way that you understand yourself so you grow out of your own limitations or patterns. So, the basic idea of the Enneagram is that all of us, when we are born, when we're one with life. You can say God, with the energy, with cosmos, however you express this unity. We are one with it. And when we are born, when we're embodied, there is one piece of this divinity that we disconnect from. And we spend most of our times trying to reproduce that lack, because this piece of disconnection is the lack that I can sense and see in the world. And I keep on trying to create that. So I am the Enneagram type 7, which is called the enthusiastic. Like it's all about freedom, it's all about joy, motivation, life is good, like there's no way this is gonna go wrong, there is always a positive way to see things. Let's make this happen. So this is the basic ideas, but there are things that I run away from. There are things that we call passions, virtue. You need to go more deep into the Enneagram, but there are blind spots in my personality. There are things that I avoid. Not always my motivation comes from a place of clarity. So in the Enneagram, we have 9 personality types, and this personality can multiply into 27 because these personalities are not isolated. They are connected to the other 9 personalities, um, and in different ways, which I would need more time to explain. But these personalities are relatable. They are not isolated, and there is something that we also call subtypes. So yeah, basically the idea of the Enneagram is to understand where you come from, what are the basic motivations, What are you trying to create in the world? What is this lack that you're trying to reproduce? So just so you know, for example, in my type, the Enneagram type 7, one of the things that the Enneagram type 7 is famous for is being positive. And there goes the blind spot. The Enneagram type 7 in general, this is a very general explanation. It doesn't explain every 7 type. Okay? I would run away from pain. So when something painful, racial injustice come, I have such an ability to reframe that into a positive impact that some people do not feel received or connected by me. Because when they come and they want to say something that my life is horrible, and I'm like, I'm gonna try to cheer them up. So I didn't give space for their pain to actually to make itself present and heal. And I don't do this consciously. Everyone has an uncle in a family that is the fun guy that comes with all the jokes, that whatever you say is gonna say, oh yeah, like he's always in a good mood, like nothing is wrong, life is good. But there is a part of this that is not reality. There is a part of this that is not reality energetically, even in the type 7. It's just a place of avoidance because I don't know what to do with pain. And the type 7 is what we call the head type. It's one of the head type triad, which means that most of the things that we produce come from our head. We are very good at planning, we are very good at logic. So we can find really good ways to justify logically, why am I doing this? So I'm doing this to help you move forward with your life. And the person, but I just want to share. So there are different qualities of type 7, just a general idea.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah. And you know, can I share one more thing with you before you say
Yeah.
something?
Yes. Yes.
The hardest thing for the type 7, which is my life lesson right now, and that's what I understood with all this process. I'd rather talk about me than other types, is surrender and pause and silence. The type 7 keeps exploring the world so much. We do 15,000 things at the same time, and we believe that we can do them. Like, we can do this. We have so many ideas. We keep on reproducing many things, but there is a sense of uneasiness because the type 7 lives in the anxiety of searching and creating, and you enjoying this a lot, and then it's not enjoyable anymore, and you keep on jumping. Type 7s can be very scattered in low levels of development. So for the type 7 to stop and find happiness in the same level of joy in silence is a learning process, and that's where I am at right now.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. That's so deep. I if I want to learn more about this, how do I do it? Are there tests to do online? Do I have to
Mhm.
come? Do you offer that?
Yeah, I love this. I'm not teaching the Enneagram, but I want to. I want to. I have people that I can refer you to. There are amazing people out there that I'm learning from. We just had a global Enneagram summit because there's a new modern era of the Enneagram, which is basically this Enneagram that defines people and put people into boxes or use, oh yeah, I'm the type 7. That's why I do this. Like use the Enneagram as an excuse not to change. So some people attach themselves to an identity just so they can keep on being the identity. So yeah, there are people doing this type of work. This is not what I encourage. I encourage you to look at your identity so you can disengage a little bit, loosen up the boundaries. Because if you look at your deepest being, you're more than any identity that you've created for yourself in this planet. You're a lot more than that. And I'm sure whoever is watching this know that. You're more than just that little type that you put yourself into. You have the capability to explore and evolve. So I can suggest a few people for you that if this is the type of thing you like to do. And yes, there are so many tests out there. There's the paid one from the Enneagram Institute. That is the one that I would actually suggest you to go for. And then goes the second thing. Taking tests, it's kind of a double bind, depending on how you're feeling that day, depending on whatever you're going through in your life situation, that can influence the way you take a test. So with the Enneagram, I say that you take the test as a way but make sure to understand the type. Don't wait for the test. Like this is a passive way that you live. You go there, take the test say one. Oh, I'm the one. This is a very passive way to deal with life. Like be curious. I'm the one. What is the one that I am? What is the one that I don't resonate with? So I say that the true highest test is when apart from taking a test, you study about the types because you might see that you are acting as one type right now. So let's say a woman that could be a type 2, which is a very kind, very hard connection. They are the helpers, they are the givers. The type 2, they have so much energy to create the good in the world. But a type 2 can be living in an environment that actually asks them to be strong and close and not open up. So they might start behaving in a different way because of the reality they are living in. So if you take a test in that condition where you have to be strong to keep your family going, you might have disconnected yourself for your type inner two. So that's why we say after you take the test, explore because there are layers of your life right now that you might be acting on, but it's not necessarily you because you're living in conditions that demand from you to behave a certain way. And the Enneagram is not about behavior necessarily, it's about essence.
Hmm.
Or,
Hmm.
yeah.
Wow. And bef- we can go deeper here. However, I wanna make sure we talk about other things as well. And earlier you mentioned NVC. Can you explain what NVC is and how you got into it and why you love it so much?
Yeah. Yes, but I need to say something. I'm so curious to know which Enneagram type you relate to.
I'm
I'm
thinking
like,
like, what
is
am I?
Fernando a seven? Like,
That's
I'm
what I
still.
was, that's what I was thinking because I've been like so good at reframing.
Yeah.
Even before NLP, I don't know where I started. I'm sure I had some
Yeah.
mentor or book that where I just thought, you know what, reframing is the best way to live.
Mm-hmm.
So I might be a seven. I will do the test
Mm.
later after this interview, and I'll let you
And
know.
you can totally count on me to help you explore your type, like to figure. I would love to. And I
Yeah.
have a story of you that made me think you were seven during the master prac.
Okay. Okay.
Because I naturally look at the world, and yes, I use labels, but I don't use labels to box. I use labels to understand how to relate to people and make that relationship easier. So if someone is an introvert, I don't think of them as an introvert so I can put them in a box. I think like what are the best way that I can relate to this person? If someone is visual, I'm not trying to put someone in a box when I think they're visual. I'm like, okay, so if they're visual, what can I do that is more visual that allow me to connect? This is why I learned communication. Yes, I use the labels, but the labels is not boxing them. It's giving me a chance to relate better. If that doesn't work, I look for other ways. The labels they're always like loose. So when I
Hmm.
saw you in an NLP master plan, Fernando, you were the first person I noticed in a freaking room. And I had no idea you were Fernando. I had no idea you were Brazilian. I got to know this in the last day of the first week. And I was always looking at this guy. Whatever happens, he's standing up and he's dancing in his black shirt, kind of fold all the way here. I was like, man, that guy has so much energy. Like I always thought of you this way. It's like, I think that guy is the Enneagram type 7 because I see myself doing that. I'm not in a situation where I'm doing this right now, but I always felt like him just like this guy. Who the heck is this guy? I always noticed you.
It was the music. Blame it on, I guess, Tony Robbins events where it's like during
Hmm.
where there are no breaks and the breaks are actually music where we're jumping up and down and getting our energies and bodies moving.
Yes.
So I had just got out of a Tony Robbins seminar and went to
Mm.
do an master prac NLP. And so I was conditioned to,
Hmm.
whenever I heard music, I'm dancing. I'm
Yes,
dancing.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
well, we share something. We share something that we do dance a
Yes.
lot in Brazil.
Exactly. So our country, we have a lot of that
Yeah.
in our native country.
Yeah.
And so what happened was, one person joined me during the break,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then another person joined me, and then
Yes.
you joined, and then another, and then
Yes.
you during the breaks, when the song was over, you would start teaching. It's like it was amazing. It was a great experience.
Yeah. This doesn't necessarily type you as a seven, but it's definitely something that an extrovert seven type would do. So that's why I was just.
Awesome. Yes. And so I'll do the test. I'll let you know how it goes. So please, and before you share about NVC,
Mhm.
I had a couple people, not a couple, maybe I don't know, 5 years ago, in the same week, talked to me about NVC. So I
Mm.
bought the audiobook, listened to it, and it was remarkable to hear the stories that was in that book,
Mhm.
Nonviolent
Yep.
Communication. What has been your experience?
Mm. Wow. First of all, I love knowing that you have an experience with it. Like it just feels in my heart, it feels like it brings us closer. Uh, yeah. So let's talk about it. So nonviolent communication. It's a book written about by Marshall Rosenberg, and basically saying this is one type of communication that try to understand how is it possible that some people have some levels of reaction or feelings towards certain things while people have other, like what is in a relationship, what is in a communication, what do we have in our communication that creates different types of responses from people. How do we trigger people? How do we get triggered by people? What is violence? So, like, Marshall is really interested in this kind of conversation. Is it possible for us to connect with a way that comes from the heart? How
Mm,
can some people, no matter what you say, be surrendering so much to their own state? Like, they just don't take blame, they don't take the shame. Or how do we create that? And basically saying, do you mind if I read one thing for
sure.
you guys?
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is how I got to NLP. Oh my gosh, to NVC. I went to a friend's wedding and they read this poem. And this poem says, "Words are windows or they're walls." I'm just gonna read to you guys a little bit. I feel so sentenced by your words. I feel so judged and sent away. Before I go, I've got to know. Is that what you mean to say? Before I rise to my defense, before I speak in hurt or fear, before I build the walls of words, tell me, did I really hear? Words are windows or they're walls. They sentence us or set us free. When I speak and when I hear, let the love light shine through me. There are things I need to say, things that mean so much to me. If my words don't make me clear, will you help me to be free? If I seem to put you down, if you felt I didn't care, try to listen through my words to the feelings that we share. I'm all goosebumped.
That's so beautiful.
And the
Mm,
thing is, I think Marshall's question is, how can we say so much and say nothing at the same time? What is the intention of my communication? Why, when I am missing my partner, for example, when he comes home late from work, instead of saying, I missed you today, I say, why did you spend so much time at work? You said you would come here at 8? Inside of me, I'm like, what is my feeling? I'm feeling sad and alone. What am I wanting? I'm wanting to spend more time, more quality time with you. What am I saying? I'm not going to trust you anymore because you just show me that you're not trustworthy. So, what I say and what's going on inside of me is so freaking different. And this
mm.
is what Marshall calls the jackal language and the giraffe language. And this was basically how I ended up in nonviolent communication. I realized that I talk a lot. You guys can see that. This is proven already. I talk a lot and I used to say very little with that much that I say. It's very little of me in my words. There is a lot of judgment, opinion, arguments There are so many things, but there wasn't me. And I was like, what is it missing? Why? And there's always that shock. I just said it. And someone tells you, no, no, you didn't say that. So, no, I just said that. No, you didn't say that. And I'm like, am I crazy? Are you crazy? Who's the crazy one here? And nonviolent communication is for me, is my first communication tool. It's the one that's being responsible for me stepping intentionally into communication and self-development. And it's the one responsible for me saving my relationship with my mom, um, and with my husband. When I got to a point that my language, the way my language expressed all the reactivity and pain that was inside of me, my language that asked so much and never requested anything, because I demanded so much, but I actually never asked from a place of clarity, vulnerability. That language wasn't working. So with
Mm.
nonviolent communication, I was able to question what is really violence. Many people, when they hear this nonviolent communication, oh my gosh, I've been teaching nonviolent communication for 2 years now. And people are like, I'm not violent. I'm not violent. So people feel like I'm not going to study nonviolent communication because I don't want to be a Buddha. I'm not going to transcend and just be like living. Like people think so many absurd things about nonviolent communication because the first mistake is the idea of violence. What is violence to you? And we are very used to think of violence as physical aggression, as intentional violence. We don't understand that is in our own way to communicate, we've been violated by our own selves so much. We've neglected our feelings so much that what we express to others with the best intention that we have is already a distortion
Mm.
of what I truly want and feel. And since depending on whoever we are and how much attention you pay to yourself, instead of accepting this part of me that is feeling confused and not knowing, I blame others. You don't know what you're saying. You are the one that is not working. You're not working on yourself. Like these people, I start putting in others because it's an act of courage, like Brené Brown says, in vulnerability, to just look inward and say, okay, what is the work that I have to do within myself, for myself, and with others? Yeah.
Wow. Mm-mm-mm. Wow. Thank you for sharing all of that. And the bit that I would like to I guess emphasize is violating our own self by not being congruent with our values and the words. And so starting with self, starting with our own relationship to ourselves, and which then
Mm-hmm.
reminds me of another book, the Four Agreements,
Mm.
being
Ah,
impeccable.
it's part of my group.
Yes, very good. Yes, yes. So it's in your yes. So that being impeccable with your word, and so thank you for sharing that. And you, before we start this conversation, and I'm going to jump a little bit on the subject here, is you talked about you had just went through a breakthrough session
Yeah.
and that you were feeling, and then tell me again how you're feeling out of being out of a breakthrough session, and what is a breakthrough session, and and how it was before, how it is now.
Yeah. Wow, Fernando, you're stepping so interesting. Because, guys, I had no idea how this would go. Like, there's no script. I know where I'm going to talk, and I love the spontaneous flow of life. I'm like, I'm just speaking, Nelly. And this feels so good in me because my breakthrough session today reinforced one of the things that I've been wanting so much as a type 7, which is surrender, which is presence. And I've always been very present and surrendering to going, but it's just staying and being with what it is in such a true, meaningful way. So this is exactly how I feel. The way the interview is going, the way the conversation is going. Breakthrough session is It's a work that both of us learned through NLP and NER. Here goes another. Here goes another baby. um, just before I mention what the breakthrough session is, when my journey started, there is something about me that I need to walk my talk. And one of my biggest challenges in life has been creating my career. And that was stuck in my relationship with my husband and with my mom. And of course, with other people too, but there are these two main ones that really play a huge role in my life. And of course, before these two, there is my relationship with myself. So for me to be able to create a career that is solid and transparent and vulnerable and real, especially because I want something that puts together body, movement, dance, communication, and relationship, I need to walk this path. There's something about B, it's like the Gandhi story from Dr. Matt. Like, stop eating sugar, and then someone come 1 week ago because he needs to stop eating sugar to tell someone to stop eating sugar. So for me, it's like I need to be aligned with these tools in practice. And this comes from philosophy, from the part of philosophy that I actually love, from Asian philosophy, from Socrates and Plato. Philosophy is not only about what is in my head, it's not only about my capability to create theories and ideas. It's about my ability to be able to be these theories, to walk these theories, walk these ideas, live through them. They are coming from my pores. It's a real place of experience and connection. So how does this take to breakthrough session? I've done all of these classes. I learned all of these communication tools. I'm teaching and I'm coaching people, and something was missing. There was still something missing, like something's missing. I don't know what it is. That's when I find NLP.
Mm.
So we get to NLP, a lot of work being done with NLP, and I found the missing piece. Like, that's it. This is the part of me that I resisted so much. So with NLP, we have the ability to do work, to use techniques to rewire our brain, our unconscious mind, and get ourselves aligned, not only conscious and unconsciously, but also energetically. NLP is extremely strong. Fernando is here, guys, as an NLP, amazing NLP master practitioner. We're all working together on this because we know that we have tools that are so impressive that just by changing the way you think, by changing the way you see things, you can completely shift the reality that you're dealing with. Because everyone in front of you just seems to be someone else because you actually just project them to be what you thought they were all the time. So for me, the goal has been exchanging and learning and doing breakthrough sessions and getting out of my baggage so I can actually take these glasses off and see the world in a real place. And what I mean by real, it's not because mine is better than yours or anybody else, but it's real because it's aligned with the person that I want to be, with the person that I am, that I'm becoming, with the purposes that I have. So I didn't plan to have these breakthrough sessions. That's the funny part. I didn't plan any of this. And this is where surrender comes in. You plan so much and you think that they're going to happen as you wish. But things are going to come and unfold as the universe and as your unconscious mind knows that you're ready to make that change. So for some reason, these 2, 3 extra breakthrough sessions, and breakthrough session is a process that can take 6 to 8 hours. It depends. It's a process where you choose one area of your life to work through. And what you want to do is to change your thinking, the baggage, the emotional attachment that you have to that area of your life, to the point that the changes that you create in your thinking, in the way that you react to things, in your feeling, how your heart and your body responds to something, the moment that these shifts, you are just stepping into a more empowered version of yourself. And this is just shining on all the other areas of your life. So I started with career, and that was amazing. And the next one was health and fitness. And for some reason, it didn't work. Like, I knew it was not. It was spirituality. And spirituality was the last one. What is the last thing you want to look at, Nelly? And I was like, is spirituality. And then I spent I'll see that later. I'll take care of my physique first. And I just couldn't. I just couldn't. There were so many things coming to me. You need to bring spirituality. You need to bring spirituality. So I finished spirituality 3 days ago, or I don't know, 4 days ago, 1 week max. And yesterday and today I went to relationship, which I thought I had not much to look at. I was like, yeah, just a few problems. Just one thing or something else. And I actually realized that the order that I chose to do my breakthrough sessions over time didn't happen. It did first, it didn't happen over time. They just happened one after the other. I didn't plan that. I didn't plan that at all. Second thing, the order was reversed. What I wanted first came last, and they made complete sense. What I had to release first is what I needed to release, so I'm able to step into the second thing, into the third thing. So today I went through relationship, and I feel like I have I'm just gonna hit high here. I feel like I've 100% healed my relationship with my parents through forgiveness, through acceptance of what is my responsibility, and through acceptance what is not my responsibility. And I dealt with a lot of trauma, a lot of things related to sexual harassment or abuse, or things that we forget we've lived, or so many things in my own reality that I deny or didn't want to see, or pretend it was not there, or just tried to hide under the carpet. But those are all the things that are actually that you are carrying throughout your whole life, and you just don't know.
Hmm.
And what do you hear during a breakthrough session, Fernando? I don't know if that's for you. It's the most absurd thing. The thing that you say, this is not my problem. Now I am like, okay, shadow work. Whatever I say, it's not my problem. Like, well, how is this not your problem? Like, I just spent a little bit of time there, because most of the time in the breakthrough session, we dig into the baggage, like we understand how our system works, how my thinking works, how my body works, how my body reacts to what I'm thinking, what are the things that are acceptable, what are the things that are not acceptable. Once you work through this, you release. You release the emotions and the things that holds you back from feeling healthy, fulfilled, happy, accomplished, yourself, whatever it is that you want to be. And once you do this, you establish goals. And then you look at your goals and you feel like, wow, I would never do these things before. If someone just asked me, would you do this? You'd say no. But now I feel so much space
Hmm.
to step into new versions of me. So I feel
Indeed.
like it's the relationship breakthrough session that is tying up all these communication tools that I've been learning all this time. And I was looking for this thread.
Hmm.
And
And it happened today, the
mhm.
24th of December. Wow.
Christmas
Congratulations.
gift.
Right? What a gift to you
Yeah.
and to your loved ones, to the and to the people that will come into your life or coming into your life, because what you do, I believe,
Mhm.
affects not only
Yeah.
you and your family and loved ones, but affects the whole world.
Yeah.
And you shared something before the interview that something about wrong.
Oh, I love that.
Can you talk about the realization? I never heard anyone share it that way. Talk
Ah,
about wrong and why you like it so much.
oh my gosh, guys, it's so interesting. I've always been, I just wish I remembered how I actually told you that. It was just so spontaneous.
That you
But
were
yeah,
happy to that now you were happy, or
yeah,
positively surprised when you're wrong.
yes, this is so amazing. And this is something I start learning with nonviolent communication, because nonviolent communication is gonna challenge the idea of right and wrong. How can
Mm.
we have, I feel like nonviolent communication and NLP, they share so many presuppositions and prerequisites, in just different ways. They are very different, but very similar in principles. So I've always been this person that questioned the right and wrong. I've always been in the middle. Like, my mom is a Inspire Dynamics Blue style. So she's like the right and the wrong. And for me, I'm like,
You
what
can
about this
explain
right?
what spiral dynamics is a little bit.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how to explain this power dynamics, but basically saying we all have a set of values as human beings. We all have a set of values. And depending on what type of set of values we have, we're classified in spiral dynamics according to these values. Okay, so these values are not based on who is better, or it's not about right and wrong or good and bad, but it's just a set of values. So for example, people that lived in cave time during tribes, they have a different set of values for what they consider to work, what is success for them. And a person right now in a company have a different set of values, which is different from someone in, I don't know, in the medieval time. So values change over time. And we as humans, we connect with certain type of set of values. So basically saying the blue type would be the more, how can I say that? I don't know how to explain that.
Rigid,
Yeah,
following instructions and
yeah,
rules.
they're more into structures and rules. Like I keep on saying, it might be the Virgos from astrology. Like they have a more procedure way to deal with the world. They're gonna follow a process, and not in a negative way in any ways, because in any values you can have unhealthy expressions of that. In every value, in every personality, you can have healthy and unhealthy versions of that. So my mom is more about yes and no. She works more with A and B. And I'm like, what about 8.1, 8.111, 8.1 and 2? So I work with the infinites in the middle of that. So the funny thing about this is because I've always been looking at this rainbow, and my mom's like, Nelly, you have point A and you have the point B. Which one do you want? And I'm like, why can't I want to be in the middle? So this is always like, I can just choose. I can be A half B F. Like I was in that shadow. And the thing is that I've always been interested about this idea of right and wrong, and I've always questioned it somehow. NVC took this to another level because he allowed me to see this not only for me but for others. Oh, it's not only about me being right and wrong, it's about right and wrong depends on everyone's reality. And these play such interesting stories. So, what if I let go of the right and wrong idea? Like, what if I stop pushing this? So, consciously, yeah, I didn't want to live out of right and wrong, but unconsciously, you still want to be right, man. What the heck? What I'm saying is so much better than everything else that other people say. Like, there's part of us that reaffirm who we are by wanting to be right about what we say, because this gives us a sensation that I'm doing the right thing, I'm following the good path. But for me, something's been changing. Because once I got to know that everything that I see about the world is a projection of who I am, wronger I am about what I see, better the world is, because what I'm saying is not good. So this is, I know it is nuts. So like, wronger I am, better the world might be, because this means that all the problems that I've been creating for myself can be just shit in my head. Like I just let go of that and the world becomes so much better. So in some point of my life with NLP, I've been discussing this with some people. Don't you feel good to be wrong about people? And if and it's wrong about anything, because this just means that I know less than what I thought, and there's so much more for me to create space to learn and connect. So I don't know, lately I've been having fun and I'm just enjoying the fact that I'm wrong about things, because this brings me back to a place of humility. This brings me back to the idea that I'm projecting the world around me. I don't know. It's just a thought that keeps on coming.
Now, Nelly, wow, that's so deep. That's so deep. And I just realized we went over an hour already, and we haven't even like talked about dance. So
Oh man.
how about we start closing this, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll schedule next one that you can talk more about. Well, we did talk about this at the
Oh,
beginning,
dance.
but
Yes.
not in the connections that I was hoping we would,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been perfect.
Thank
So,
you.
what parting thought or advice would you have for my audience? which are
Mm.
people that love, they're empaths. They love
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they are also, good portion of them are business owners. Others,
Mm-hmm.
most many are working from home, and they want to improve their relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with themselves. Like,
Mm-hmm.
next interview, we talk about relationships with others, but
Mm-hmm.
what could you tell us that we can do right now to start having a better relationship with ourselves?
I feel like the first thing that I would suggest you guys to do is to listen to your body. As a dance instructor, and after dancing for a while in my own body, I got to know that my body is talking to me all the time. And I choose not to hear to it consciously. Like I hear that my neck is cracking, but I keep on going doing head movement in my dance because I feel like I'm supposed to. There is a shoot. There is a shoot that seems to be bigger than me. And when the shoot comes, I keep on doing things that my body is saying no to. So the first thing that I would tell you is if you listen to your body, you're so much closer. And you might not attach meaning to it. Okay, I'm listening. What does that mean? This is a different level of exploration. But you listen and you have to make a conscious choice to go against it because you need to put yourself at cause and take responsibility for choosing to do otherwise. So I'm listening that my body wants to rest today, but I know I have to attend this meeting, I have to finish these things. So can you make a deal with your body? This is something that I've been practicing. Okay, body, what do you want? You want rest. My mind is telling me that I have to finish these things. What is the deal? Okay, I'm gonna then rest 15 minutes, then I'm gonna do my work, I'm gonna take a break. Can we just make a deal? Like you literally make a deal with your body. And then you can ask the intention if you're thinking, if it's a conversation in your head, if you're auditory digital or something, and the body is kind of not accessible to you at that point, you can ask yourself, what is the intention of this thought? What is the intention of this question? Do I want to work today? Oh man, do I have to work today? This is something that you think. You're not listening to your body saying that. You just say, oh man, what the fuck do I have to go to this meeting today? Oh, what is the intention of this thought? It's gonna lead somewhere to the body, but maybe it's coming through the thought. Maybe the thought calls more attention.
Mm,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing. It's been an honor. It's been so much fun to connect with
You.
you, and it's.
Same.
I'm so happy we got to share this time together. I'm looking
Yes.
forward to connecting more, and for the people listening and watching who love to connect with you.
Hmm.
How can they reach out to you, learn more about what you offer?
Hmm. Yes. All right. So first, thank you so much. I love talking about these topics. I need someone needs to limit me. Nelly's only here, so I can just keep myself there. I know that I go broad because it's very easy for me to connect things in my own reality. So thank you so much, everyone, for just taking the time to hear me, and thank you so much, Fernando, for doing what you're doing. I'm extremely inspired because you're giving voice to so much energetically, emotionally, mentally, and there's so many people being impacted by you do, either by what you're offering or by your being, because your being is an example, and you're communicating that with your actions. And there's nothing greater than leading by example because you don't have to say that, you just are, and you just build that over time. So I'm so honored. Thank you so much. About working with me. Oh, all right. So the easiest way right now is to connect with me either over email or over Facebook or Instagram. I'm still in the process of building officially my business. And after all this breakthrough session that I know it works from inside out, I'm going to be able to put something more officially out there. So I'm creating programs, I'm brainstorming ideas. I have many amazing things to put out collectively for the next year. But for this year, what I'm doing is one on one. So I've been coaching people and I'm coaching people or couples, it depends, or yeah, family, it depends on how they come to me. But I've been coaching people one on one. So if you really want to work with me for either a breakthrough session, and it can be a personalized thing. This is something that I love doing. All these tools that I have, I hear you and I bring to you what do I think might help. You don't have to know as many things as I know, and sometimes one little thing is all that you need to completely change your life. So I love doing one-on-one because I'm able to spot what is the tool that would benefit you the most, what is that you're looking for. And for more on my brand next year. So excited.
Awesome. So I've tagged you on this video, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll go back so people can just click on your name and message you there. I'll also, after the video is over, I'll put your Instagram link there as well for people
Yes.
that are more Instagram inclined.
Yes. Yeah.
Nelly, it's been fun. This has been
Mm.
awesome.
It's been
Beijo pra
awesome.
você.
Beijo. Merry Christmas, guys. Have an amazing
Feliz
time with your
Natal.
family. Feliz
Merry Christmas.
Natal.
And all right. Until next time.
Till next time. Mwah.
Bye bye. Ciao.